Greetings and welcome to the energy of Gemini. Welcome, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. We'll go ahead and begin and get started with a small karmic reading first. The third house is open, so we'll go ahead and see what there is to learn about the energies of Gemini and the energies of a significant other through the Great Mirror. The Great Mirror is a tool devised by the Order in order to see significant karmas that may exist on different levels of consciousness between the two, what interplays, what reflects, how things are being played out in terms of current energies, okay? Also, we'll look deeper into how far this goes and how much there is in terms of karma, in terms of the transaction of currency in that respect, okay? Um, yeah, there also will be an extended if you are looking for that. It can be made available by email. Just email me in description box for the extended, no problem. Um, yes, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Hmm. Okay. So far, there is a karmic energy here that has to do with the return. It's a return after a long expedition of sorts. This expedition can be literal. It also can mean trying to step away from things that have been invested in terms of memories or commitments of the past. Okay, the Fool as well as Cancer energy are activated here, the first house and fourth house. Also Virgo energy, sixth house. So the 1, 4, 6, a movement into newness that has to do with finding a sense of place, trying to find or need a sense of place to move away from certain things, okay, in order to find a connection of sorts. And then a devotion to the self or a devotion to something else. We'll see. Okay. So it seems that you have found something on the journey, and there's something about you that wants to return to it. At the same time, a part of you is trying to see if there's a deeper connection into something that is new. This also can be reflective in the energy of the other. They could have gone through some form of return, finding a structure that they know to be true, or that potentially has the weight to hold, the strength to hold all the weight, okay? A lot of burden of the mind, but truth is emerging in order to find a sense of intuitive control or responsibility within this action, okay, of return. There's the Four of Cups. So, Ace of Cups, Four of Cups, Six of Cups, Four of Cups. Okay, I see a lot of avoidance of emotions, which may be icky, and it may have been sort of brought about with the stellium in Cancer, Cancer New Moon especially. A lot of gateways opening into that. Also in June there was uh, uh, the Anuradha energy in the node. So this also has to do with a great deal of water, okay? A lot of emotions, a lot of cups sequences, okay? A lot of feelings. Excuse me. And these feelings are something that you may not own up to, or they may creep up upon you like a wave that is sort of pulling you back in the riptide. Um, at the same time, you're not jaded by this. There's something about you that can easily sort of let loose emotional content, play the bodhisattva, the one who does not move from the tree of wisdom. The ability to know that these are not yours, though they are feelings that are trying to tell you something. Okay, when it comes to this, there's something from the past, a breaking away, a need to find something new without being very patient about it. You need to break out. Okay. And this has led to this moment, essentially, of detachment, a lot of detachment, emotional detachment that I'm seeing here, but also trying to understand why they're there. These are not your own. It could be that you are impressed by others in terms of their emotional resonances, and perhaps even though you feel empty, you do want to understand them, but you can't access them in some sort of way. There also is someone or something that you may be moving toward or becoming or meeting in some sort of way, that this person who, be the 7, there's either a disintegration or a letting go of certain tensions, or this person wants to let loose the tensions. There's something about this that, it talks about being uninspired mostly, just letting go, and being very detached. Trust me, I know what you're going through. There's something about the energy of Gemini, the third house communications, that falls short in the tumult of great emotional upheavals, okay? And this is just something that I see personally within also my own personal sort of mercurial energy. Mercury is making a lot of people detached for the time being, either walking the path of the hermit, the fool, or Cancer within the energy of the Eight of Cups, moving away in order to return to something that almost seems pointless. Now, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm using a very old deck known as the Grand Tyler deck on Bipugama, Paris, France. It's 130 years old. We'll go ahead and begin now with the first layer of the Great Mirror. Okay, so far I am seeing, excuse me, I am seeing freedom, especially with the High Priest energy in the reverse. the Magician also in the reverse. There's something about the energy of the 2 and the 3, the 1 and the 5. This has to do with essentially moving away from the elements. Okay, so the pre-read earlier was essentially showing detachment from especially the energy of water, trying to understand the effect of others' emotional waves or energies sort of washing over you, yet you being sort of still in that stillness. There also is something about this where you could be within this connection, especially avoiding any type of and this goes for both parties, any sort of elemental energies. Trying not to get entangled anymore. Also, essentially trying to master the elements, master the mind, master the heart, master the feelings. Okay, and be a master of the ground of it all. Okay, but in this respect, I mean, it can go one of two ways. It could backfire. Now, okay, there's a process here of essentially improving the sense of anything bad, okay? Trying to find a way into a natural state of being, okay, that requires a lot of introspection, a lot of deep searching into the element of, the state of nighttime, nuit. With this, a lot of Virgo energy as well as, yeah, Virgo, as well as Mercury in the lower side, in the grounded side, is here. There is a need to essentially really become reflective in some sort of way. This is a process as opposed to like getting into very difficult, tense situations with another. Both parties are seemingly looking um, to the night, to the inner world, to the secrets of the moon, okay? And trying to, with the energy of Mercury, with Gemini here and Virgo strong here, essentially becoming more reflective, grounded, and trying to understand the method or the praxis within all of this, or perhaps even the madness behind all of this. Now, on a conscious level, you are being perceived as another, someone who is moving in movement, but also won't be bothered. There's a touch of grace and a touch of flair, a touch of a flare of dignity within you, in which you know where to go, where to migrate, where the thoughts go, and it doesn't seem to be sort of concerned too much with this. There's an escapist element through another here, and you are traveling into something else, becoming something else in terms of the energies of incarnation. Okay, I had a discussion with a nun very recently about states of being that are incremental in nature, and this increment can be divided into the smallest of particles, the smallest of measurements of time or space. Okay, meaning that each moment can be significant of the multiverse of many different states of being, in which there are an infinite number. Okay, and in the process, we are constantly dying and regenerating into new particles, into new ways of being, okay, that emerge out of the multiverse, that emerge out of many states of potentiality. Okay, so in death, in essence, we are dying and regenerating each second from snap to snap, and even smaller than that. And the will into manifestation comes, but it depends on how you handle that with good thoughts and good action, righteousness, dharma. Okay, and that's possibly something that you're searching for in terms of this energy, in terms of this connection. There is a grace and elevation within the Empress energy that requires transmigration, which is essentially migration from one state of being into the next. You know, this is the process of awakening in one respect. You are dealing with someone that may appear as they have been sort of locked into a type of prison, okay? incarceration here is here. Also, the 12th house is here, which is having to do with institutions, 10th house and 12th house institutions, as well as trappings, prisons, um, being sort of isolated, deeply isolated in some respect. Yet, with the Tower in reverse, there is a sense that things have either been sort of let loose in terms of this imprisonment, or perhaps there is something that has to do with the prevention of a type of collapse. There are also a collapse of the mind, especially. There's something about them that is also they have dodged a potential calamity in some respect. Tower energy and Empress energy is strong in the minutia, and with this, on a conscious level, the major arcana are heavily active here. Okay, heavily active. Why? There's a mutual sort of sense of critique. This person is also very self-critical. There's something about them that wants to find perfection, and perhaps there's something about you that will find perfection somewhere else, just in case. Okay. Um, what emerges out of it is a sense of playfulness on one end, a sense of devotion, or an obstacle on the other, in which obstacles and hurdles on their side especially have to be avoided or have to be sort of negotiated with in order to walk the proper path. So it's not easy, and there also is essentially a division here, a division of critique, a need to sort of be very critical with each other and critical on the situation in general, to create enough psychological or protective shield from each other. Okay, it's fairly interesting. But the escapist theme is strong, at least on a conscious level. Both of you are needing sort of refreshment or um, a way to rejuvenate in some sort of way. I'm seeing here that this person, they have a lot of tendencies of minding the mother, trying to understand the motherly energy, trying to understand why the connection is so compelling in the way of gravitas, or in the way of movement in terms of an emotional undertone. There's something about them that is very much grounded within the connection, but in a different way. It has to do with the desires of the flesh. Sins of the flesh and the need to express the fleshy needs. There's a lot of karma here. There's a lot of desire and a need to express that on a very deep level. Okay, the 69 usually indicates the tie of the fourth house. Okay, emotional resonances that become embodied in some sort of way, encapsulated in the flesh, in the skin that contains, through the energy of Cancer, in a structural way, permeable sort of perversities or permeable sort of transferences of the thresholds between one and another, or one and then space and then another. There's something about this that has to do with boundaries. Okay, boundaries being broken in some sort of way. Okay, now on your end we have both d'argent here, which has to do with essentially the Ace of Pentacles energy. Okay, usually, and this is in the reverse, there's something about this that has to do with the seed and the planting of certain things, something embryonic. Okay, this has to do with some very strong, at least on a deep level, very strong energy that is rooted in the Muladhara chakra, which is tied to the ovum. It's tied to the embryo. It's also tied to the idea of mother, very strong here, especially with that. There's like an element of the Ten of Pentacles, something that, a reality that is birthed between you two. This is the timeless aspect of it, birth within you two. There's they're trying to be a fusion in which one great resource adds to a collection of desires in order to bring forward a very deep commitment of sorts. Okay, but I'm not sure if that's happening exactly. I'm not sure if it has broken through in terms of conception. Okay. But what sort of resonates between you two is this high Aquarian idea with Homme de Robe, the man of the cloth, or the man of the robe. The robe is interesting because, it can usually sort of indicate a lot of things, including the robe of Christ. That's what I think it mostly points to. With the King of Swords in terms of Aquarian energy, this has to do with cold and exact precision. Here with the Eight of Swords plus the King of Swords, the Nine of Swords is very strongly indicated within the mirror. Okay, with this indication, there is an aspect here that is tied directly to the need to essentially meet each other halfway and try to understand each other in a realm of trying to see essentially what's the trigger of fear within the mirror. Why is there a sense of fear? Why is there a sense of mental clashing? Okay. And this has to be understood because this emerges on a very deep level. There could also be great psychological complexions that have to do with cutting energy, with very strong words or strong intellectual thoughts upon the situation, especially upon someone who is extremely fleshy in nature, that wants desire through the houses of essentially kama, which is the houses of desire, that need to be understood. This has to also do with the energy of vayu, which is air, okay, and what can be transported through air. Um, how can you guys understand each other? How can you vocalize this sort of reality coming about that is very much tied to the Ten of Pentacles, okay? Which has to do with great commitments, great promises, the need to become socially understood in each other's sort of good grace, okay? But for now, the time being, I'm seeing here, this person is on something, they're trying to philosophize in terms of their external world as well, okay? I will look deeper into a second layer and then with great clarification what's going on exactly in terms of especially the soul level and the conscious level. But in terms of the realm of will, which is right here, there is something about you and them that has to do with the need to be productive in some respect, okay? Also the need to, for you especially, to cut out things that would not work out, in terms of your higher logic, okay? With the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, with this sort of desire that is strongly linked to the houses of Kama as well as, excuse me, the North Node, there is a very strong illusory sort of shadowiness to them that sort of looks like a type of tower moment that wants to be avoided, and perhaps they mean differently. They want to create some sort of structure, and perhaps you are willing to hear it out, but do not. I mean, there's something about you that does not want to sort of overextend or give too much in terms of what can be said or what can be done or what can be thought about, what can be philosophized on. The nines are very strong here. There's something that you can learn from this person. Um, if you approach it from a place of from your true self as well as your more creative self, something can be had, something you can pull from this, okay? But it requires a great deal of Libran energy on your end, okay? Which in the evolution of the triplicity of air and the energy of Vayu, okay? These are the Kama houses, okay? This has to do essentially with the need or the move towards the higher intelligence of Aquarius, which is astral in nature, which is cosmic. But before that, we have the seventh house, which is Libra, as well. There's also the third house, which is, of course, the house of Gemini, okay, which is the house of the student, the house of also communications, siblings, communities within the locality. It's intelligence, okay? So there's an evolution here of intelligence through the other that you can glean upon, but the irony is that you're having to pull back in order to sort of get enough gravity in terms of the situation to see if there's something really there. Now, what emerges out of this is essentially the essence of the 2 and the 9 C, still learning through some sort of constructive either criticism or constructive judgment, okay, as well as the ability to find tension points and address these in some sort of way, to nullify these by creating a divide or a support system for each other. This is also a possibility. But I'm seeing here a lot of difficulty in terms of dealing with someone who is essentially, they have good intention, but they're also they're very much concerned with the desires that manifest out of this connection, which can be very deep and profound, but at the same time, a lot of critique and a lot of sort of higher mind is needing to be had in order to understand why and where and how this will pan out. Okay, that is what I'm seeing, at least for the time being. If you would like a bit more in the extended, I will pull an additional layer plus pathways of how there's internet connectivity, how challenges can be met and served in some sort of way. Advice will also come, further advice and clarity within this spread. But if this is where we leave off, thank you, and please like or subscribe. If you would like the extended, it shall be available by email. Just see the About section for that. And I do thank you for any donations that you have or will potentially give to the Order of the Twin Sun in order to make publications that are indeed on the horizon. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.